Hello friends, this video focuses on loops. There are different types of loop just like we have different types of conditionals. We have for loop, while loop and do while loop. In this video, I'll tell you about for loop. Along with that, break and continue keywords will also be discussed. Whenever I talk about loops, one thing comes to my mind that there may be a cycle, right? Something is happening again and again for finite or infinite times. For example, I want to print hello world for 10 times, or I want to print integers from 1 to 50. That means I want to print an integer again and again for 50 times, incrementing its value each time it is being printed. Or I want to make an alarm which will ring every day until that clock gets damaged, which means I'm running a loop for infinite times or for lifetime. First, let's see why we are going to use loops instead of simple copy and paste. For that, I have an example for you to make you better understand this concept. What if I want to print this hello world for 10 times? From whatever I know till now, I can simply tell you go and copy this line and paste this for how many times? 10 of course, and then simply go and run this program and it will print hello world for 10 times. What if I tell you that you have to print it for 1000 times? Are you going to copy and paste this for 1000 times? Do you have so much of time? No, I don't have so much of time. I'm a very busy person, and I can bet that you also don't have that much time that you are going to paste the same line of code for 1000 times. For that, I have a very simple solution to wrap that 1000 lines of code into 3 lines of code. You have to use loops. And there is a second advantage of loops also. What if I want the user to tell me a number? For example, let's say the user entered 4. Then I want to print hello world for the same number of times, that is 4. Now if the user enters 6, I want to print hello world for 6 times. Now in this case, I'm not an astrologer, and so I cannot predict what the user is going to enter. In that case, I will use loops. That's a very simple solution to such a case. Now let's see how this is going to be implemented. But before that, we'll have to have a look at the syntax of for loop. First, we write the keyword for, and then we have 3 things inside the parentheses. First, we write the initialization statement, then the condition statement, and then the variable update statement, and all of these are separated by a semicolon. Then we have these curly brackets, and inside these curly brackets we write all the statements that are going to be executed till the condition is satisfied. Let's make a program using for loops. I have increased the size of the font so that you can see it clearly. Then I'm removing all of these lines because I don't need them, and then I will declare a variable of type int and I'll name it as I. This I will be initialized and updated inside the for loop. Then I'll use the keyword for, and inside this I'll write those 3 statements. First the initialization of I, then the condition, and then the updatation of I. And inside this I'll cut and paste this. Now what will happen is, first I will be declared, then I will be initialized as 1, which means I has a value of 1. Then I will be checked. If this condition is true, which is true, then the program will execute all the statements that are written inside these two curly braces. Then the program will jump to this statement. It will update the variable I. Here it will increment the variable I to 2, and then again it will check whether the statement is true or not. Since this is true this time also, because I is equal to 2, this will again print hello world, and then it will again jump to this, and then it will check this and again print this. Now let's assume I has moved to a value 10, which means when I got incremented it is equal to 10. The program will check whether I is equal to 10, less than or equal to 10 or not. Since it is equal to 10, the program will print this, the compiler will print this, and then it will again increment I. This time I equals to 11. Now this condition is false. So the program will return to jump to this line after the curly braces, and it will execute all the lines that are written after this. Now let's see what is the output. Output is clearly 10 times hello world, because the program is running from 1 to 10, which is equal to 10. That means printf is executed 10 times. If I update this I to 100, this means that my program will run 100 times. And if I write 1000 here, which means my program will be run 1000 times. All of this wrapped up in just 3 statements. I want you to play around with these 3 statements and also this print statement. What you can do is that you can, instead of increasing this I by 1, you can increase this by 2 or 3 or any other number, and you can also multiply this I with any number, or you may subtract it or take modulus and change this accordingly according to your needs. You can also try changing this and see what the result is. Also, instead of printing just hello world, you can print the value of I here with the enter. So try doing that, and now we'll see the second advantage of using loops. In this example, I'm going to take a number from the user. Let that number be n. Now I'll scan the number, which will be an integer. Then I want to run the loop for n number of times. So I'll write n here. It's so simple. Now let's run it and see what happens. It's waiting for me to enter a number. Let's say I enter 20. So it printed hello world 20 times. Now what if I say 1? So this is entering hello world just for a single time. This is the second advantage of using loops. Now let's head on to break and continue statements. We'll discuss both of them, and you will be writing code on both. This time I won't type the whole code by myself. You will be the one who will be typing the whole thing. Don't worry, I'll provide you with a part of that code, and I'll tell you how you have to proceed. Then you'll write and run the code by yourself. So let's first see what is break. As you know, break is used in both switch cases as well as in loops. We have seen how they are used in switch cases. Now, in this example, we'll see how they're used in for loop and in the similar way they are used in other types of loops. When they are used in loops, they terminate the loop immediately then and there when they are encountered. Let's see it by an example. In this example, we have a for loop, and inside it there is an if condition. The moment when the condition for break becomes true, the program will move inside the if statement and the program will encounter break. Now, the program will move from this line to the end of the loop. This is the part of the code that you have to implement. The whole code will remain the same as you have done before. Only you have to change the contents of the for loop, and while typing the code, try to find out what should be the output. After typing the whole thing, you have to run the code and find out whether you were correct or not. Now after break, we have continue. Unlike break, continue is used only in loops. They are used to skip some part of the code inside the loop. When a continue statement is encountered, the program will jump back to the text expression of the loop. Let's clarify it through an example. In this example also, we have a for loop and an if condition inside it. The moment when condition for continue becomes true, the program will move inside the if statement and it will encounter continue. Then the program will move from this line to the text expression of the loop. This is the part of the code that you have to implement. As done before, you have to keep the whole code same and you have to update the for loop. This time also try figuring out the output while typing and check whether your calculated output matches the real output. These are the exercises for this video. In the first question, you have to write a program that will keep on prompting the user to input until the user enters 1. This question will help you in future. Suppose that you want the user to input a particular type of data, but the user is not cooperating. Then this concept will be used. In the second question, you have to try using a for loop inside another for loop, which means nested for loop, and try making these patterns. Once you have made these patterns, I can guarantee that you will feel more confident and you will start taking interest in coding. If at any moment you feel confused, share your confusions in the comments.